Welcome back, Zoo Crew. Today is going to be a short video. I am exhausted. It's been a very productive day, you could say. You know, I'm getting my ducks in a row. I applied to a bunch of different car jobs. I made my updated resume. So, and actually, somebody's already replied back being like, yo, when can you come in for an interview? So that's pretty sweet. Alhamdulillah. My luck seems to be turning around. To be honest though, in terms of like the car sales thing, if I am going back into car sales, I want to go to Honda. That's my first choice really, you know? And so Canada Honda, back when I first got into car sales, okay, so I guess we should start with the beginning of my car sales journey. So I did my OMVIC in like one weekend. Super easy to get your OMVIC license to sell cars. It's literally an open book exam, and like I read the book and then did the exam and I got like 97 on it. You know, so if you want to get into some kind of a sales job, I would say car sales is probably an easy place to start, especially considering how easy it is to get the license compared to like real estate or something, you know? And then I applied to a bunch of jobs, right? And then I did a bunch of interviews, or no, actually, I had applied to a bunch of places, but because I had zero car sales experience, not many people wanted to hire me, right? So then one place, they called me in for an interview, and then they literally offered me the job on the spot. So that should have been the first red flag. Like, they literally just offered me the job on the spot, you know? Initially, I was like gassing myself up because I was like, oh, sick. Like, I crushed that interview. Like, I have no experience, and they literally hired me, you know? So that was Saint Laurent Jeep and Ram. And literally, like, my first day on the floor, I sold a car. So, and that's probably because of all my sales training and like my experience in sales, especially given like what kind of sales we were doing at Black Card, you know, like we were literally selling like coaching packages from 15,000 to 75,000 over the phone to people who bought like a book years prior, right? So I was there, and then I quit that place in January just because the management was not good. So like there was two sales managers, right? Like the used car manager, he was legit. He knew what he was doing. But like the new car manager, she had no idea what she was doing. She was literally in their marketing department and got her OMVIC license like 2 weeks before me. So she had no business being a sales manager, you know? And like literally the point where like she would blow up my own deals. And like anytime she would like get involved in somebody's deal, like it would get fucked and like, there's just like simple things that you shouldn't do in sales. Like she would be like, oh, well, if I'm being honest. And like, if you say that to somebody while you're in like a sales conversation, they're automatically going to assume that you weren't being honest with them for the whole time prior, right? So like, that's a big no-no. And then like, literally like I had scripts that I made, and then I was calling people who had purchased cars, or like their leases were coming up or their financing was coming up, and be like, oh, like you should come in, like new rates, blah blah blah. And like, so not only did I generate leads for them, like for vehicle acquisition, I ended up selling those people cars, right? So had I stayed there, I was on track to probably sell 10 cars at least in my first month with like zero car sales experience. However, like I was not getting along with the management, and like I told them like, yo, if you can switch me to the other team, like I'm cool, I'm down to roll, you know? And then, so they're like, yeah, we can do that. But then like when I went in the next day, they were like, no, like you can't do that. Like, because then everyone's going to want to switch teams. So I'm like, bro, like if everyone's going to want to switch teams, it means you have the wrong manager. Like literally, like I would have been a better sales manager than that chick, you know? Especially because I was like literally training half their sales guys, which is hilarious. But yeah, you know, from there, again, I applied to a bunch of different places. And this time, because I had experience, I got interviews. So let's pause for a second. Like really, I shouldn't have ever gone to Jeep Ram because that's just like a terrible brand, and it was like a dying brand. So the second time around in January, I had interviews at Hyundai on Hunt Club, Canada Honda, and then Capital Dodge, right? And then I got offers from all three of these places. So I definitely was not going back to Jeep just because like it's a garbage brand, and like who the fuck is buying a Jeep, you know? And then it came down to between Hyundai on Hunt Club and then Canada Honda. So I ended up going with Hyundai on Hunt Club just because it was base pay plus commission, you know? And like the thing is, like I really hated the first dealership I was at. The second dealership though, I really enjoyed it. Like great coworkers. My sales manager Moose, like shout out Moose, super sick dude. Super chill, like very like much on top of his shit, like goes above and beyond, very, very meticulous, very detail oriented, you know? And like honestly, I stayed in that dealership a lot longer than I probably wanted to just because of him. And then I guess also like Shahir, like he became one of my good friends. We had a lot of like interesting discussions just because he's somebody who like understood philosophy, very cultured, and I guess that's because like where he grew up, right? And like military background. And then like same thing like with Athir, like pretty good guy, like very like caring kind of person, very empathetic, compassionate, you know? So, and then like same thing with Kunj, like he was a cool guy too. So all of the managers there really like top-notch people. Coworkers, same thing. Like I really liked all of my coworkers. It was a great group of people. And honestly, I regret quitting that job. But then at the same time, it's like, I got to a point where I felt like I didn't believe in the brand too much, you know? So like people would ask me like, oh, what do you drive? And I'd be like, oh, like I have a Honda. And they'd be like, oh, what? Like you work here, but you don't have a Hyundai? And then just like I had a few different experiences that like kind of rubbed me the wrong way, right? So I had one delivery that went out and like literally that lady's like she spent 70 grand brand new car and like it died the same day she came to pick it up. So after she signed the paperwork and like yeah, so that just like I didn't like that. And then like literally her car, like God knows when she got it back, but they had to replace so many parts in it. And I guess it's like comes with the territory. Like Hyundai is not as reliable of a brand as Honda, you know? And then I had a few other deliveries where there were like a little bit of hiccups. And then like I was like thinking, I was like, all right, well, I think I've kind of like reached my cap here in terms of growth because really the next move up would be like to become a sales manager or like a F&I. And unless somebody in that company like decided to like go somewhere else or retire or quit, like you're not going to be able to get into one of those positions, right? So it's like if I'm going to be just capped as a sales guy for God knows how long, I'd rather be at a place like I'd rather be doing something high ticket, right? So my thought process was, all right, well, let me just go get my real estate license. Realistically, I probably should have got my license while having that job, but it's just like car sales is a very fucking draining job, you know? Like any kind of sales is a very draining kind of job or career rather. It's very emotionally taxing, you know? And like I had explained this to my dad and then like I was like, yeah, okay, so like I'm gonna quit and then I'm gonna focus and like get my real estate license and like just power through and get it like quick, you know, like maybe within 3 to 6 months, however fast I can get it done if I'm doing it full time. And then he was like, yeah, for sure, like I got you, bro, like this is a good idea. And then something like in his brain flipped, so then he ended up like he was literally arguing with me over like $2,000, and like $2,000 a month doesn't make a difference to him, but it made a huge difference to me, right? So like my whole life destabilized, everything fell apart, and then yeah, you know. So fast forward to like the breakup with Mina, and then moving back home, and then like I could have started my real estate license then, but like I was not in a mental space where I could do anything, you know. And it was mostly the environment. Like I had to get out of that environment. And I was thinking, well, like I might as well launch my business. Like it's a very asymmetrical risk. Like I'm not really spending much money. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, like I didn't really lose much, you know? And so I started building Osira, and then like it kept expanding and expanding. So like I think that's where I fucked up is like I figured out what the end vision was and was trying to create that from the beginning without starting with something smaller and building into the final form, you know? Whereas now it's like I've kind of transitioned and pivoted so many times that like I figured out what exactly I'm doing in terms of my business, right? So it's pretty much business consulting, you can say, but really like, so I'm going to launch my own info business where I have my ebooks going on. And then once I've proven myself, like I have a few people that I've like already reached out to being like, yo, you're pretty skillful at what you do. Let's turn this into like an online asset for you. So you're always like making money from your skills, regardless of if you're working or not, right? So now this is in the works, and I'm not going to go into more detail about that until something's concrete. But like the benefit of me doing it for myself first is I become my first case study, and then I can like show to like other clients like, look, like I literally did this for myself, and like I can do it for you now as well, you know. But yeah, so this is the thing, like my plan was to start driving Uber like when I fucking moved out here, but there's like literally so many hoops I've had to jump through. So first I found out my license expired, then I found out my insurance paper is expired, and then so literally today I was like, all right, fucking I got the car detailed, all of my paperwork's good, like let's roll, you know. And then it wouldn't let me go live, and I was like, what the hell is going on? So I called Uber, and they're like, yeah bro, like we emailed you, but like you're using your, so I have like private relay set up, so when I sign up for something with my iCloud, and they're like, yeah, your email is literally, you didn't get the email notification where we need a copy of your driving record for the last 3 years. So I'm like, great, fucking now I gotta go back to Service Ontario. So I went back to Service Ontario. Luckily, like the Orleans Service Ontario, like you're not waiting too long, you know? So I got the driving records and then uploaded it, and they're like, yeah, it'll take 1 to 3 business days. So I'm just like, great, bro. However, like, so I had spoken to Mina like probably 4 or 5 days ago, maybe a week ago, about like whatever I'm doing. And then she was like, yo, bro, why don't you just get like a car sales job again? And I was like, to be honest, like I've been thinking about this for a little while, just so I have some like actual income, some more structure, and then like I can just go from there, you know, like I can build from there. So in terms of my luck turning around, I checked on Indeed and I see Canada Honda is hiring. So literally they had offered me the job before, and then I went to Hyundai on Hunt Club because it was base pay plus commission. And I think that's where I fucked up, right? Because that was like my fear. I was like, oh, like I need some kind of stability. And the thing is, like I should have had enough faith in my own sales ability that like I don't need a base pay, like I'll make more in just commissions, you know. However, don't get me wrong, like I learned a lot at Hyundai on Hunt Club. It was a great experience. Like I was selling consistently like 9 to 12 cars a month on my like on months, you know. And I learned a lot from everybody there, and I got a lot of good experience. It's just that like with the way like things ended, like with some of these deliveries, like it really like bogged me, like it really got to me, you know. So this time around, it's like if I'm gonna be in car sales, I want to do a brand that I can actually believe in, and like a brand that I can feel good selling, you know. So like Honda, everybody knows it's a good brand. Like I've literally had my Honda Pilot for, well, since like 2016, you know. Yeah, like literally 2016. And so this is like the crazy part in all this, because like I would switch my car like almost every 2 years, you know. And then this Pilot, like I bought it and like I've literally just had it since. Like it's literally like my Range Rover in terms of tech and features, except nobody's asking me like, oh, can I borrow your car? Or like I have to worry about the car, or like if something breaks, you know. So that's why I'm like, okay, well, I might as well go to Honda. So I applied to Canada Honda, I applied to Ottawa Honda, applied to Orleans Toyota, because another Toyota is like another good brand that I could like feel proud of selling, and like not be like questioning my own ethics and morals, you know. And then Mercedes downtown Ottawa. So that's like my friend's mom's dealership. However, like I'm trying to like apply, and like if I can get a job there without having to like use my contacts, that's ideal. Just because like I don't want to be in a dealership where people are like, oh yeah, this guy only got hired because he's like homies with the owner's kid, you know. Shout out to Phil, shout out to Mirans, you know. And like look, I would love to be in that dealership just because like his mom is like a shark. That's like a true like not that's a true like entrepreneur, you know, like thoroughbred entrepreneur. So if I was gonna work for somebody that like could potentially become a mentor, that would be the place to be, you know. Plus like Mercedes, like my mom's owned a bunch of Mercedes, like it's another brand I'm familiar with. German brands are generally reliable, you know. So that's that. And then I applied to a couple of like pre-owned car dealerships, so like used car dealerships. And that's kind of makes sense for me as well, just because I'm of the opinion that like you shouldn't buy a brand new car ever. Like you either buy a used car in cash that you can afford, or like you lease a car. that you can afford. Ideally, like if you're gonna be leasing a car, like you own a business. Otherwise, you're much better off just paying cash, buying a used car, you know? And literally my first car, that's what I did. I bought like a $2,000 Toyota Celica, and I loved that car. I would have kept it forever if I didn't total it, you know? Yeah. So all in all, that's kind of where we're at now. It's waiting to hear back. So like I have some interviews lined up now, but really like I want to go to Canada Honda, and I'm like hopeful that I'll get the job there. Like inshallah, my luck is good, especially considering like they had already offered me the job before, and like I had less experience then than I do now. So fingers crossed, you know, we'll see what happens. And yeah, I mean, on my spare time, like I'm gonna work on my business. So like selling the ebook, the business consulting, and then like this is another cool thing I found out about Uber. Okay, so like this is something I can just always be doing anyways if like I'm going somewhere. So you set your destination, and then like it'll literally just give you rides along the way to like where you're going. So like if I'm going from like Findlay Creek to Orleans, I can just set my destination to Orleans. So like if I have to go to Orleans anyways, now I can just take somebody with me and like get paid to go to Orleans. You know what I mean? So this is pretty cool. I didn't know this. And then like when I dropped my car off to get detailed, like I took an Uber back home, right? So I asked the guy, and he was like, yeah, dude, like if you work full-time hours, like 7 a.m. to like 5 p.m., like you'll make 6K a month easily. So my mind was like, poof, you know, especially because you have so much freedom when you're doing Uber. Like you are literally your own boss. Like you set your own hours, you drive as much as you want, or you not as much as you want. If you want to take breaks to like eat, or you want to take a break to like pray, like you can totally do that, right? So yeah, I mean, that's where we're at now, Zoo Crew. I really didn't know what I was going to talk about today, and I was just hoping that like something would come to me. So it did. Although I'm realizing now that I didn't say Bismillah at the start of this video, so that's not too good. But as I said, it's been a long day. It's been a crazy day. It's literally been a crazy ass year. And I want to sleep early so I can wake up early and like have my sleep schedule and wake up schedule back in order. So that's it, guys. Peace out.